We interrupt this broadcast of Gary Hartford telling the second part of his chicken story, which was silent, with another version of the second part. I said that whole second part, and what happened is when I turned off the camera right before then, I don't know, I was reaching for something, taking a break, or I don't know what I was doing. But I hit the camera off my dashboard. It fell down and hit the shifter, and I turned it on. Everything seemed normal, but I don't have that casing around the camera. So anyway, I said that whole thing, and I think it was pretty good. I'm just dubbing in. It's the first time since the history of my show that I've dubbed in something. So here goes. What happened? Okay, here's the second part. What happened with Brad and I? We got our chickens. He's got his Tom Jones. I got mine. He's happy as can be. I'm happy with my Johnny Cash. And when every Johnny Cash song comes on, I'm out there dancing. And now he dances to every Tom Jones song. Well, the problem, this is all fine and dandy, but the problem was they played a Tom Jones song like not too often. I don't know if it was K102. I don't know if it was that old, because we were like 9 or 10 years old when this all happened. But anyway, they would play, my Johnny Cash. So anyway, I was doing most of the dancing, and Brad was sitting there, just waiting, and then I'll get to that. So anyway, I'm mostly doing the dancing and having a good old time. And Brad, because he's got a chick of his own, he's not like bumming out yet. He's enjoying watching me, because I think what he's really doing is checking out my moves, and then he's gonna, mimic some of them that he likes, and then he's gonna probably make some up on his own. And that's what we would do. So everything was, like I say, fine and dandy until Brad noticed, and I did too, but I didn't want to say anything because I was having the time of my life. He noticed that there wasn't many Tom Jones songs, so he wanted to switch it to, I don't know what it was, KS95. I don't even know if that was around back then. Something like that. Maybe it was. And anyway, they played a lot of Tom Jones, but not much Johnny Cash. So he would switch over to that radio station, and I'd be sitting with Johnny watching him dance to Tom Jones and checking his moves out. And they weren't bad, by the way. He was good. So so all of a sudden, so we couldn't really get anything done. So we'd work, on our bikes and stuff, and we'd be listening, and then we'd run out, and we'd miss part of the song. So we got smart, because we're running to the chicken coop all the time to run down Johnny on a Johnny Cash song. He's out there, and I'm with him running down Tom Jones on a Tom Jones song. And I remember the first time the Tom Jones song came out, he went out there, and so did I. And Tom Jones was fresh with this, where Johnny Cash, he's been around the block with me, because I've been dancing with him for a week or two before Brad ever came over and got jealous. So anyway, I think that I remember right the first time he went to run down Tom Jones, he couldn't catch him, and he wasted that whole song on a cistern behind the house. And he was like, oh, dang it. So then he finally caught him. So then we got smart. We started to, whenever he came over, and even that first day is when we thought of it, because of that, we'd stake down our chickens. So, because then we can get something done, because we're just walking around all the time with a chicken underneath our arm, and which was good, because our chickens got tame, and he needed to tame his chickens, so that was fine. But then, we wanted to work on our bikes, we'd flip them upside down and, work on them, or do different things with them, just act like we're working on our motorcycle, like our Harleys or something, but they were just pedal bikes with banana seats and junk, and we'd have the playing cards and the spokes. I don't know why the kids don't do that anymore, but Well, we couldn't do that, one-handed because we had our chickens. So we didn't want to put them back in the chicken house because then we have to run them down and we'd miss out on a lot of dancing. So we made these harnesses on the cistern out of twine, and we'd have a loop around their necks, and then they would get out of that. So then we learned, hey, we got to extend that harness down, so make the loop around the neck, and it wasn't tight, and then we tie out other strings on there and go around their body and behind their wings, and then we'd stake them down. And we learned, because just like you stake a couple dogs too close together, they get tangled up in the ropes. So we learned to put them perfectly so they could be together, and they'd sit together in the grass and watch us work on our bikes, and then they would wait. Or I swear to God, they got to know the names or the songs, so. Brad, I know back then it was, not a Tom Jones song would come on, it's not unusual to be loved by him. There's a lot of them, and a lot of Johnny Cash ones, so we had a lot of dancing in. So anyway, things got kind of bad because I'd want to, listen to my country song, and then Brad would want to listen to another station, his whatever, that wouldn't be pop rock, or I don't know what it was, that station, but it played a lot of Tom Jones back then, I know that. And anyway, we started to get physical with one another. Even with a chicken underneath one arm, we're like you danced, and yeah, but you danced more than me, and just all these fight. We started arguing and fighting more, and our moms had to hear us. They'd be in there, just beyond the porch. You come in the porch, and then you're at the back of the house, and they got to go on the, then it's a solid insulated wall, but they had to hear us. And they just let us fight, and that's what a lot of parents did back then, is just let the kids work out their differences themselves, unless it got way out of hand. At times with Brad and I, it got kind of out of hand, and all of a sudden we hear this, hey, and we're both startled us because we're in the middle of this heated argument, and our chickens, I think, were staked down, and they're even, we all jumped, all four of us. And here's my Uncle Mel, and he's like, what the hell is wrong with you two? What are you arguing about? And we're both scared to tell him. And he knew we danced with our chickens, but he'd just shake his head and laugh, but now we're having arguments over it. I'm just like, well, he is, I want to dance with my chicken, and that's on K102 and country, and Brad wants to listen to KS95 and his Tom Jones song, so he can dance to that. And he goes, what? He goes, that's what you're arguing about? That? You guys are good friends. You're going to let a couple chickens or dance songs about that you dance your chickens with? Split you boys up. You boys are close. You always have good times together. This isn't right. And we're like, look at each other like, yeah, And he goes, use your heads. He goes, the solution is simple. And we're like, what? The solution? And our ears kind of perk up. And he goes, Gary, you got other radios around here, don't you? Huh? And I'm like, yeah. There's one in the pole barn. There's one in the milk house, and a couple in the house. And he goes, exactly. He says, go to the pole barn, get your dad's radio, or the milk house, get your dad's radio, and come back. Brad, you put yours on KS95 over by you where your bike is. I see you guys are working over there. And then Gary, you keep the radio where it's at, or move it closer to you, and have the volumes down when the songs come on. He goes, then you can dance your chickens. And he says another thing. He says, he goes, why watch each other? When there's a Tom Jones song comes on, both of you dance your chickens together. And when Johnny Cash is on, both of you dance your chickens together. You get twice the dancing in. You got everything's happy. You just use your head. You got to start thinking. That's not that hard to figure out, is it? And we're like, no. And he goes, yeah, you could do some whittling there. And we're like, what whittling? We haven't done that in a while. And my uncle was good at planting seeds. He's a smart guy. Even though he kind of drank a lot and there was trouble with his relationship, and And that's why sometimes he'd stay at our house. And that's probably why he was there. He didn't live with us, but sometimes it felt like he did. And then he would go home for a while and work things out. And it was just kind of a roller coaster relationship. And it was because of him. It really was. You know, he was at the bars a lot with his buddies, and you know, just because he worked with all these drinking guys and whatever. So anyway, you know, our chickens are over there in the grass, you know, like listening to my Uncle Mel too, facing him, sitting down, like in the grass, you know, like they're laying an egg, facing totally what's going on. Here in the the new rules or whatever. So, but anyway, yeah. All of a sudden, my uncle just shakes his head and turns around and walks away, and Brad and I are like, he's smart. You know, what the hell? Let's do it. So we're all happy again, and so then we you know got the radio. Everything worked out great. You know, my uncle solved everything, and then we whittled that day too. You know, we did just he could control us. You know, and fun stuff. But that's the second part of the chicken story I want to tell you that I told a lot of this before. Maybe I left stuff out. I don't know. There's some. I'm sure there's other stuff, or maybe I added some stuff too that I didn't last time. So I guess you know that's how it goes. But I just hate repeating stories. I'm not kidding you. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm still at Cylon. I came back here. I know I'm parked in a different area, but I needed to get that story out of the way, you know, to make way for to the third story. So now we'll go back. Here's how I'm going to edit it, my first editing thing. And now you guys go back to the original, and that's it. So on to part 3.